Hi, my name is Hunter Kwan.
My name's Chris Jerome.
My name is Jasper Eckert.
I'm a junior at Oregon State. I'm majoring in environmental engineering.
I'm a senior in the DCA program here at Oregon State University.
I go by Japper as a performer. People ask me if I'm Japanese, and I'm not.
In my spare time, I teach kids how to swim. I'm a lifeguard. I like to write.
I like film and writing. I do a lot of video stuff. I just finished up a book a couple weeks ago and got that onto Amazon just a few days ago, actually. It's called Wrath of the Fallen. It's an epic fantasy that I just finished up recently.
I write music, I produce videos and photography and album covers, and I also organize events that people create their own media from.
The type of content that I create is mostly written. I delve into poetry occasionally, but most of my writing is, like blogs, articles, journaling type stuff. I like to journal on my own for myself just about every day, but I do some publications for the Odyssey online.
I really love film, I really love video. I like being able to set up a shot, get a bunch of actors together. My favorite part of that process is actually editing. And I think that's part of the reason I gravitate so much towards writing, because I like having control of the whole project myself. I really like coming up with a story and ideas and seeing a whole story come together. So more recently, I've kind of geared all of my focus back towards writing again.
I write music, I make music videos, I do photography. I just have loved music ever since I was a kid. Started to recognize patterns in music at a young age, picked up on how to recreate them, and once I got into the flow of doing it, I just kept doing it, and before I knew it, I had a plethora of music that I've created that I could call my own.
I started blogging last fall, actually. I had a lot on my mind one weekend, and I just wanted to get it all out, and I knew that writing helped me do that. So I started journaling for about a week, and then I thought I would hold myself more accountable to keeping writing in my daily routine. So I started a blog, putting it all down into words that were outside of my own head helped me formulate my thoughts better. So I kept going with it, and eventually I got hired on to write for the Odyssey.
I chose writing because I like reading so much. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been writing stories just as long as I've been reading them. It's always been a big passion of mine. I'm an avid reader, and I wanted to create the same kind of content that I like to consume. When I'm actually writing, it's kind of weird, but I feel the same way I do as when I'm reading. It's almost like I'm reading someone else's story as I'm watching it pop up from the keyboard to the computer screen. So that's kind of why I enjoy that so much.
The publishing started this January, so this is now my third month doing it, and I publish one piece every week with the Odyssey.
I've been writing ever since I was in elementary school. I had a book that I made it pretty far along in. I had like 20 chapters done that I actually lost at summer camp. But yeah, it was also an epic fantasy novel, so I've always kind of been writing the same kind of stuff. I got back into writing and started this novel about 2 years ago, and I haven't really stopped since.
I've been producing electronic music for about 5 years now. I actually started about this time of April or March. It's March right now, yeah. About March or April of my 8th grade year.
Oh, this is awesome. Being reminded by, the rest of the Odyssey team, hey, get your publications in this weekend. It's always, it's something that I have to do. So it is a responsibility, it is a bit of a chore right now. And I know that once finals are over and spring break happens, I'll be able to get back on enjoying it a bit more when I have a little more free time to actually focus on what I'm writing about.
I still absolutely love writing when I'm on the first draft and even the second draft, but when it comes time to edit, that's when it becomes a chore. And the raw creation of the first and second draft is so much more pleasant, but the editing is so much more important.
I still love it a lot. I don't think I see that as a chore at all, because whenever I actually get an opportunity to perform my music, it's all worth it, and I realized that's why I'm writing the music, is to show it to other people.
I don't think any one thought is completely original, because thoughts can come from everywhere and you can be inspired in many ways. You can look at a tree and think about autumn. Is that really your thought, or is it just something you've associated it with? So in that way, I would say my thoughts are my own, but not necessarily original.
I think a lot of my content, especially in regards to my book, it does take inspiration from other sources. I think everybody does that to an extent. It's, especially starting out, I think it's really hard to come up with something that is 100% you and not the people you look up to, and so that's something that I've really worked through with this first book, is trying to cut all that extra stuff out. Now that it's out on Amazon, I think I've gotten it to a point where it is me, and it's as much me as I can get on the page.
A small percentage of my music is original, because I'm always writing with other people, so they're always like throwing in their ideas. Not always, but like a lot of the times, and I usually credit them when I do write with other people. Everything is inspiration from somewhere else. It's really, really hard to come across an original idea. I think the only original idea I ever really have is the idea for me, myself as an individual, to create something. Like once I've started to create, it's all just channeling inspiration from other places, so it's really just like a collaboration of other ideas, but there's no real original single one.
I try to give some sort of life advice, almost, like a pick-me-up. If I write something serious, if I write about death or fear, or something a little darker, I always try to close it on a good note, give some sort of inspiration, so that I don't just sound like, a downer in what I write about. Everything I'm writing, I truly believe in, and I want people to take that away, that there's always a silver lining in everything, no matter how dark it is.
I think I often play with ideas of justice, people that kind of take matters into their own hands and feel like maybe society isn't taking care of things for them. If it seems like things aren't going the right way, or they feel that society isn't working a certain way, they try to stand up and do the right thing. Doing bad things, even for good reasons, can change you, and some of these certain characters that are trying to bring justice to their world have to accept the fact that that's actually going to make them a darker person, because they have to go places that other people can't.
I like to think that I have a theme of visuals inside of the music, like synesthesia, if you know what that is. I have an album named Synesthesia, so that's kind of a recurring theme. I really like that tropical ideology where you're just sitting at the beach, just with palm trees and just listening to music. I'd say the most recurring theme in my music is actually house music, like 4-on-the-floor kick drum, and then the offbeat hi-hats and the snare on every other beat.
If I think about a cool idea, I write it down, and then later on when I decide to actually sit down and write, I look at my list, whatever I've accumulated throughout the week, and I pick the most relevant one at that time, and I go for it. So twice a week I actually sit down and create something written.
At the moment, I don't write as much during the week as I would like. When I'm done with school next term, I'm hoping to get to the point where I'm writing every day. I want to get on a quicker schedule where I have a faster release pace for my books and short stories. I'm building out a franchise for this entire world, and so I need to be on a specific pace to get things out in the time frame that I want. And in order to do that, I need to be writing every single day.
It's usually every other day. It's been pretty consistently 3 or 4 times a week, if not more, every day. It'll be for an hour a day, it'll be for 5 hours a day. It really varies, but I really try and get out all of the ideas that I have as soon as possible.
My main audience seems to be the college demographic, the millennial generation. I try to write about relevant topics to them that are also relevant to everyone, life, how we feel about relationships, jobs, school. Everyone can relate to that, but as, I'm a 21-year-old guy, I try to write to people that are of the same age as me so that they can relate the most right now to what I'm talking about. One of my friends actually, after my first post, she came up to me and said, "Hey, I was reading this Odyssey post someone shared on Facebook." And I'm thinking, this is really good. I'm glad I read this. And I got to the bottom and I saw your name and I'm like, hey, I know that guy. And I thought it's a little unsuspecting that I like to create this type of art.
So the main audience for my writing is something that somebody in high school could read, somebody with kids could read, but it's definitely a mature story. So I think my main demographic is probably going to be adults, people my own age.
Honestly, everybody is my demographic. If people want to listen to it and they enjoy it, then that's what I'm looking for. That's who I'm looking for. But mostly older than me, because they definitely seem to be the ones who are most interested and like can relate to like what I'm trying to do.
I see myself as an extroverted introvert. I'm very social, I like to be around people all the time, but at the end of the day, I need my alone time and I need to rest and get my own energy back. Being an introvert has really helped inspire a lot of my own creations, but being an extrovert has allowed me to really be open to other ideas and accept that there is no one answer for anything or everything.
I would definitely consider myself an introvert. That hampers me in all aspects of my life, even in my writing. It helps me from the pure content creation side because it's really not hard for me to turn off the outside world and just sit down and write. But when it comes time to actually getting other people to read it, sharing it with other people, that's where it kind of gets in the way and gets a little harder because I have to be a little more outgoing to say, hey, I want you to read this, and I think it's pretty cool.
I tend to be very introverted a lot of the time, because with music it really makes you want to listen, and so I'm always listening more than talking a lot of the time. I definitely notice myself feeling like I'm an introvert more, and I think that it's really helped because I have a lot more time to work on my music. I think it's also limited me to as far as collaborating with other people go, because I'm more focused on a single project that I may have that only I could really work on. I tend to just stick to what I have and what I know. And I love collaborating with people in every way that I can because you don't have to have the same talents in order to collaborate. If you're creative enough, you can find a way.